And now we're in this helter-skelter world where everything is
The
up
legacy
for
media is
grabs.
the worst at that now.
Yeah, I know.
They're the worst
I
at
know.
that, which is fascinating. You know, it really is. It's really fascinating when you lose faith in a New York Times piece. You know, it's like you go like, well, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I know this. I know what they're doing. I know
Yeah.
they're just, this is editorial bullshit. And that didn't used to be the case, I don't think. But
No,
then,
it didn't.
But then I go back to like what I learned about the Woodward, Bernstein, Nixon thing at Watergate. That was all essentially an intelligence operation. Have you ever looked into that? You know, I had Bill Murray on the podcast, and Bill Murray said one of the wildest things. He read the first 5 pages of Bob Woodward's biography on John Belushi, Wired.
Mm-hmm.
He read the first 5 pages. He goes, "Oh my God, they framed Nixon."
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no
He's
kidding.
like, what they wrote about my friend was so not true. It was so wildly off. He said John Belushi was a lightweight. John Belushi would have a couple of drinks and he'd be fucked up. He wasn't like a big partier. That time he did that speedball is probably the only time he ever did it in his life. But Woodward had him painted as this maniacal, off the rails, just drug-addled monster. And he knew that to not be true. He was very close to Belushi for a long time. And so he was like, oh my God, they framed Nixon. And then when I told him the whole story, you know, what Tucker Carlson had told me about Woodward being an intelligence asset, and then that was his first job ever as a journalist was Watergate, and that there's FBI guys that were involved in it and the break-in, and the whole thing was they tried to get Nixon out of there, the most popular president in the history of the country in terms of the vote, and they were successful. They got him out of there, and it's probably likely because Nixon was very concerned with who killed Kennedy, and he wanted to find out, and he wanted to get that information out, and apparently he had been talking about it. I know who did it, and he was, you know, he didn't want it happening to him, obviously, and he knew it could. If you're a president, you know, a couple of guys ago, you know, just one of the most popular presidents, at least posthumously popular presidents. I know he's very polarizing while he was in office, but was shot in the head in the middle of Dallas, and you think that the government might have had something to do with it. Like that could fuck with your head, obviously. You know?
Yeah, well, there's many things like that. I mean, you saw the government website that came up 2 days ago about COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
Wild
Yeah,
to see that.
That's for sure.
See
What are you supposed to do with that?